Okay, wonderful. So thanks for being on the call, guys. Hopefully we have a good session today. So for those familiar with the DTB system, a lot of tools that are very helpful in determining what the price is going to be doing, strategies that really help, work through the strategy analyzer to be able to get better odds of your progress in the market, to see where price is more likely to go, just, giving you a better setup so that you can foretell, more or less what the price is going to do and the speed of the market and everything. So quite a few awesome tools in the DTB system, and I probably didn't explain anything very well there at all. But anyway, I try to make up something new every time I jump on a call. But anyway, there we go. So the risk disclosures, have a look through that. There's also a link to it in the video, so go through that. And so pay attention to that. Make sure you understand what that's about. All right, so I'll jump straight to the VPS. I just restarted it a few minutes ago, so I haven't got any optimizations running. I'll quickly look at the 5-minute chart. So look at this incredible signal that we've had from shadow trading that literally started over there at just before it's at 5:30 a.m. All the bars were gold, so we had a huge sell-off, all the way down. Look at the momentum line starting to deviate from price very, very well, and then we had the price reach a new low, momentum lines shoot up quite considerably, facing up, and as we know, that's like a magnet for the price. And that's what's happened. It's basically pulled this price all the way up, and we're up there now. So all the way from that move, we've had a very, very big move. Even if you got in a bar or two later with the price moving around, it's still over 240 ticks of move so far. And all these bars are green, so we know that the buyers are definitely in full control of the price. So that is just one of the tools that we have available in our system. It tells you very clearly who is more likely to be winning the battle, the buyers or the sellers. And it's coloring the bars. You've got a momentum line that's showing you some key information. You've got divergences that tell you when the price is likely to reverse. So in combination with the momentum line, the positioning of it, an incredible tool to predict market movement. We'll go back to that in a bit later. Let's look at the optimization so long. So exactly what we used yesterday. So I've got the analytical strategy 1. You're using the time slot between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. We are not using stops and targets. I'm going to put in into this the global money management thing. I'm going to put in a daily profit target. So I'm going to put in $1,000 there. And even though I'm going to tick the box to say use daily profit target, it's not, the strategy analyzer is not going to recognize that. It's not going to automatically have a strategy workout optimization that it's going to make $1,000 profit per day. It just doesn't recognize the daily profit target for some reason. But when you activate the strategy, it will apply it to the live trading chart. So I'm going to try that out today, just having a daily profit target. And we're not using stop ticks or target ticks. I've got a trading stop value in there if I want to activate that. It's also a value that you can put in there that we're not necessarily going to use because we've got false as trailing stop. But anyway, so leave that like that. Setting A 1 to 20, setting B 1 to 40. I've got just trend in there. So I haven't got reverse. I've only got trend in there. And I've got true, true, false, false. It's a 22, 22 bar. So I'm going to be doing a few different bar sizes. We're going to be using, today is the 6th of the 10th. Okay, so being the 6th, well, let's stick with 29th. The whole week we've worked from the 29th. So from the beginning of next week, we'll switch over to the 5th. that'll be the next week. So we're analyzing just over a month's worth of data. So we'll stick with the 29th. And because today is the 6th of October, I'm just going to put the 7th in there. So we can analyze, up until current dates, but it's only going to analyze up until yesterday anyway. But we'll put the 7th there. Break at end of day on, including commissions. We're doing a 3 slippage. We're looking for 10 results, max net profit, everything else the same. So I'm going to run that. It's going to give you 800 iterations. And then I'm going to save that. So template save, and I'm going to call that 6th of October. We saved one at the end of yesterday's call. So I'm going to just create this one. I'm going to call it 2222. True, true, false, false. Save that. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to close the rest because I changed the setting. So let's do that. I'm just closing the other optimizations that I've got running, or not running, just open. And then we can adjust those accordingly. Okay, so that is the result from the 2222. So we will look at that a bit deeper in a few minutes, but what I'll do is I'll duplicate this in a new tab. It's going to say run again. I don't know why it wants to run it again. Just duplicate it, for goodness sakes. Because if you duplicate it again over here, it just duplicates. It doesn't actually ask to run it again. It just duplicates. Anyway, so I don't know why it wants to run it again when you duplicate it, but if it does, just abort it. And on this one, we're going to put 20 and 20 in there, and then we'll run that. So the only thing we changed is the bar size. So that's 2020. I just want to bring up the video in case somebody is looking on that side. 1 second. All right. So while that's running, I'll just quickly do something on this side. And live. Okay. Okay, perfect. So that is running there. Good. So this is the one we looked at yesterday. At the end of yesterday's session, we ran this optimization and we saw this result over here, the 933, which is the same setting that we actually ran yesterday in our session. Okay, so let's look at the next chart. I'm going to a 18 and an 18. So I'm just going through a few different bar sizes just to see what is coming up. So 18, 18. Here I've got a, the next one, I'm going to go a 16 and a 16. I'm going to duplicate this in a new tab and don't ask me to run it again. Okay, didn't. Good. And this one here, I'm going to go, I'm actually going to optimize the data series on this one. So on the last analyzer, I'm going to choose optimize data series. And I'm going to go from an 8 and an 8, but I'm going to go from minimum 8 to maximum 48. Let's go 8 to 48 in increments of 8. So what that's doing is it's busy optimize. It's going to optimize a few different bar sizes in one running. So that'll be good. It'll take longer to do, but we'll still just do that. So that's the 22. That is the 20. That is the 18. That is the 16. Now, you don't have to go and do multiple optimizations like we're doing here, but it's good to do a few different ones so we can see, which bar size has been performing the best. So it is probably a good idea to do it. It is a good idea to run multiple optimizations because they also don't take very long. You see, they run very quickly. So you might as well just run a few, see what's coming up, and spend the 30 minutes before the open to find something that is really good. So on this 2020 bar, what I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to be looking at the analysis and day of week. So you click on analysis and day of week, and that's going to tell me what historically that has done per each day. So I'll do the same with all of these other optimizations. Okay. So I'll just cycle through these results and just see if there's anything that comes up. So nothing on the 22. Ooh, that one looks decent. It's a very few trades though. Wednesday, 5. Okay. So just looking at the 22, nothing too exciting. I'll leave this result up. Okay. It's not crash hot, but we'll look at the next chart while that's running. Actually, let's see if this one's finished. Okay, this one has finished. That one's finished. So I'm going to go and run the next one with the multiple bar sizes. So this one is the 8 to 48 with _8. So it's going to take a bit longer to run. So we'll just come back to that just now. Okay, so looking at this one, Wednesdays, we are showing 3 trades on that one. So the setting that worked very well yesterday, on a Wednesday, doesn't look as crash hot. Wednesday, 4 trades. I did click on it, and I hope it's not going to freeze my system. I have got an optimization running, so you got to be very careful when you're clicking between things that it doesn't freeze NinjaTrader. And that could often happen. So I just got to be very, don't click anything else until that's cleared up, which there we go. Yeah, so I'm not seeing anything really crash hot over here yet. Okay, so let's go on to the next bar size, which is the 1818 bar size. And let's see what this one pops up as. Again, I clicked on it, but it's delaying. So just be very mindful. Just rather do one click and let it react. I'm doing half hour of day. Day of week. Okay, so Monday. So again, we're just looking at the Monday, Tuesday. We're looking at the week in overall, but we're looking also what is a Wednesday looking like. Wednesday, that one's interesting. It's interesting. It's got 1,600, but it's got 37 trades. A bit of all over the place around it though, so I don't know about that one so much. Too many steps there. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so that's that one. And then let's look at the next one that's come up, the next optimization, which is the 1616. Okay, and then we'll look at the results from that one. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 13. This one looks decent, actually very decent. So far, that one so far looks the best. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3,000. What do the first ones show? Wednesday is 2,000 with 13. Overall, it's also looking pretty good. The amount of trades. Okay, so that looks like to me so far the one that I would choose. We'll look at the charts in a moment. This one is still running. I hope it doesn't take 35 minutes. It shouldn't. Let's see. Because there's no other optimizations running, it should actually speed up. So I just want to check my task manager. So what also happens with the task, with the performance of this thing, is that if you run an optimization and the results come up, it's the NinjaTrader still holds on to the CPU or the RAM or both for a minute or so afterwards. So sometimes if you're stacking on processes if you're stacking on these optimizations without letting the memory and everything be released, it's just adding on to it. So just bear that in mind. Sometimes that can happen. It doesn't seem like it happened yet because it's only using 6.8 megabytes of the 6.8 gigabytes of the 64. So there's not a lot going on there. It's only the CPU that is pretty high. But I'll keep an eye on that on the side. So any of you guys come up with some settings for your strategies yet for today?
I have mine is A5B37. See how that goes on a 20 by 20.
Okay.
I turned it on already, so let's see.
Okay, so you're using a 2020 bar?
2020 on the NQ.
Okay.
I only optimized last week's, not all the way from August.
Got you. Okay. Got you. No problem. So I'm just going to look through a few more of these. See, this one does look good, but it's fewer trades though. So, and then we're looking at only 54 trades over that whole period. So, I mean, even though we're seeing it look high here, the values are pretty low. So we don't really want to be using something like that unless we're only looking for one trade, perhaps one trade the whole session. And it's not always about trying to get as many trades as possible. It's just about finding something that just looks pretty good, that can be used. I mean, look at this one here. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all very high days with high trades. But then Friday dropped $4,000 on a Friday. So interesting. So even though that looks pretty good for a Wednesday, just because it's had a huge drawdown on a specific day, not to say that it's ruled out completely, because you can also just evaluate specific days. It's just that I tend to try and avoid those ones. Trying to find something with consistency throughout the days. Trying to see which one did I select again? I don't remember. Far out. Oh, it was this one over here, wasn't it? Okay, so it was a 16-16 bar. A 16-16 bar, 40, 30, 14, 18, 32. The reason why I'm looking at this one is because the overall percentage is pretty good. We're looking at a 10,000 net profit, with a 2,200 drawdown, 46% type of a setup on the 1616. So I may just run that one for the session. I will see if this one completes. We can also go and pause it during the session and change the strategy to anyone we want. So that's also fine. This one's got 8 minutes left. So who knows? We might actually even find something in this one that comes up. It's got a mixture of different bar sizes in it, and see what that, if there's any fabulous results in there.
So basically, Jason, your approach is to analyze different bar sizes, and then out of those, choose the one you want to run for the morning.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, you can, it's sometimes different bar sizes, obviously they're going to give different results, but sometimes a certain bar size will just be perfect. Will just be perfect size for it.
Okay.
So this one it's definitely going to finish in time. We're going to have about 5 minutes left to make the final decision on what to use, and then we'll have it activated by the 9:30. Let me just stop my video because I think it's hiding a bit of the screen. That's better. I should have done that earlier because it was obviously hiding the top right of the screen. So I'm going to just save this template. So template save, and this one here is I'm going to call it 6 optimization, and this is going to be, I'm going to call this one 8-to-48_8. So that just means I'm optimizing a bar size from 8 to 48 with an 8 baseline width in ticks. And it took 11-12 minutes to run, so it's even finished before I thought. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So here is a 16:8. Now notice on the last optimization I said 16:16 looks pretty good with the 728 setting. So look at this. This is a 16 bar size. So this is a 16:8. Okay, so let's have a look first at the Wednesday showing not a good day. Okay, that's a pity. All right, so 16. I'm going to just have a look at these other ones over here at 7 trades. Okay, so this one looks also pretty good. There's a lot more trades though. Now remember, it is including commissions, so it's not like it's it's not taking commissions into consideration. So if you look at the summary of this one, it's going to show 10,500 with a 2,900 drawdown, 40%, 438 slippage, commission 1,100. So that's all been factored into those results. I wonder if we should have a look at this one. So that is what that looks like on the chart. So you've got longer signals. You know what? We haven't actually used a flat baseline type of a look for a while. So let's have a look. Let's run this one over here for the session instead of the 16:16. We'll just quickly compare the results again anyway. So just looking at this, 48. Okay, so I'm going to save this one here. So template, save, and this one over here, I'm going to call this trading chart. Okay, so this at least will show you guys how to set up a chart with two different values. Okay, so we quick look at the settings. We're using the date I'm going to be using is the 29th of the 8th, and I'm using a 48 bar. Okay, so if I go over here and I go to data series, I'm going to be choosing a 40 and an 8. Apply. And I've got 29th of the 8th, which is exactly what the strategy was telling us, to 10th of the 6th. Okay. And I'm going to go to the strategy. And I'm going to load, so template load the trading chart 1. Okay. And I'm going to go using that account again, enable, apply, and okay. I'm looking at the values at the bottom. They're all matching beautifully, and start. Okay, now notice we've got it set from 9 a.m. So had we done this before 9 a.m. and we chose that setting, we actually would have been in a long position already at 9:11. So that's when the signal, so you see it says buy over there. So that is when the signal actually would have entered its first position over there. So it would have been currently in a 70 tick move. All right, so I'm gonna activate that, and then we'll just see what that does. So again, looking at the analyzer itself, we've got the settings over there are matching. So if you look at let's go to look at the chart actually. It's going to show a little bit higher because it's showing the current trade has been taken, but that's okay. The rest will be matching up. So the 40%, yeah, it's matching up very closely. It must match up exactly if there's no trade entered yet, but because there is already a trade according to the strategy that's in play, it's going to factor that into the strategy analyzer. So the only thing with this though is that if you have a bit of a zigzag trade situation over here, you're going to have a situation. So say if for example it bought over here, predicting a buy signal, the switch over signal will be the next bar. So you've got a much larger gap between entries if the price bounces around a brick wall. So we can go back at previous entries and look at them. So as an example, if I look here, you can see there we've had a buy over there, or it's actually sold over there, bought over there. So it's got a whole bar that it went up, and the same coming down. There was a little bit of a mix of a signal here. So there was initially a sell, but it went into a buy, and then it went into a sell. So this one was 2 bars worth of actually, yeah, one full bar. So you can see that with this type of a setup, you're going to have slightly larger losing positions in that case. But overall, if you have these strategies run, and even over there, look, it actually did a sell, but it stayed in that until there. So a bit of a, I suppose if you've got a trailing drawdown setup, you don't really want to be having this type of an approach, because it's relying on these longer moves in price too, you see? It's relying on those. So in that case, also just looking at the analyzer, if you want to have slightly smaller losses between trades, if you switch to like the 16-16 like that, and you look at the chart, you're going to notice, if I maximize this, you'll notice on here that the positions that are losing have a much closer changeover. Just see if I can find some over there. A little bit down here. Let me just go like this. Okay. So yeah, you're going to notice, but then again, not always. I mean, look, that is a longer one too. Okay, so not always the case, but generally they are slightly larger on this. They are slightly larger on this. Okay, so there's the 930. Let's see what happens over here. Doesn't want to go down. It's struggling. It's struggling to go down. It's fighting off this thing. Now it's probably going to go up. So it has, the indicator has drawn a brick wall over there, but 930, I mean, you have a craziness action there. It had a quick switch over of signal on the baseline, you see. So when you have a switch over of signal like that, like we just saw now, that is pretty cool, because then you've only got a 6-tick value in between the buy and the sell over there. I mean, the changeover. So when those things happen on the baseline, that's pretty cool. It's only when it goes up and breaks up and the signal changes, then that's where it's going to be a bit more costly to like that type of a look. So we come to the 61.8 or the 5-minute chart. Like it's not a very big number to work through, but you know, often the price can just bounce around there for a little bit. There we've got a sell. Probably would have not liked to sell when it's broken above, but that's okay. We're coming to a large Fibonacci cluster on top. So the last thing we want is this thing to break up, fail over there, take a long signal, and then come break down anyway. So hopefully we stay in a short. Again, if you only want to have a certain direction of trade, you can select your strategy on the buttons to say long only, short only, or both. But because the strategy has been optimized for all directions, we're just leaving it like that. I'll just go on to the properties over here of the data series and just see if I can increase the size of these plots. Okay, that's not what I wanted to see, but anyway, we're going to let that. So that currently is where we are. See, these Fibonacci levels are extremely, extremely resilient, especially when there's a cluster of them. So if you want to pause your strategy around a level like that until you've got direction from it, that could also be something to do. Like I would have the option here of doing short only, just in this area where we are right now, because we've just seen the price shoot up to that Fibonacci cluster, fail at it, and then come bouncing around. So we'll judge it anyway. I'm going to center this price on scale so we can see what that looks like, what levels are above and below and all that. So there's a huge gap above the price now to the next significant level. So if it consolidates above this cluster that we're seeing over here, we've got a nice run for it. If it breaks below, there's a nice run down. So we're kind of in the middle zone over here. We're also at the 50% for like the day really. So we kind of it's going to shoot either direction. If it stays above this, it'll be beautiful. Often, when the price breaks through a significant level like it has, it's going to come back down and retest that level. So we're probably going to see a bit of a pullback over here just from, seeing what these Fibonacci levels do. So we're probably going to see a drop down to over here somewhere, or at least close to it, and then a shoot up. Doesn't always happen. I mean, sometimes they'll break through and just continue running, but they ideally want to come take out some stops first before they push the price. And we are at that 50%. Okay, so we had a switch over of signal there on this baseline. So it's picked up it's picked up the volume, it's picked up the price action, it's picked up the speed of the bars forming and a few other things combining in there, and it's determined that this is a sell option. So I would have liked to see a little bit later after it's confirmed a breakdown below, but who knows, this could go straight up. Doesn't look like they want to come down too much and retest this Fibonacci level. Unless they do it now. Okay. So another switch over of signal over there. A little bit unfortunate there. If it stayed in this long position, from that point, we would have been up on that break there, not have lost on that break. So yeah, but hopefully this will break up again. We're approaching the 61.8, which is also the 0 line, and the 38.2 of the 5 minute. So looking at this, we've got the weekly Fibonacci levels coming up ahead. $7.28. I'm just running my optimization again on the 1616 bar, the one that I initially wanted to use. So I'm just running that optimization just to see what that is looking like. Because what that'll do now is it will include today's data as well. So it's going to include what has happened so far this session. So that's another thing you can do throughout your session. I know we're only trading for 30 minutes over here, but another thing you can do throughout your session in the beginning stages, especially if you're not having really powerful results in the very beginning, run your optimization on your other bar sizes, including one that you may have chosen and between your top 2 or 3, and then run those and see what they are doing in the minutes leading, before. And who knows, you might just want to switch over to one of those. Okay, so 1027. I forgot what it was before, but we'll just look at this. So as an example, like I think the one that we were looking at before was the 728. That was the one that we were looking at before. So if you look at the 728 on the 1616 bar, which is this one over here, you can see it's entered a few trades today. That's the analyzer. So they're looking pretty good for today's results. But I will let this one run anyway. And we'll see where we end up. So I'm not liking when I see that along at that Fibonacci level. So there's been time when I've run this 48 bar and it's been absolutely phenomenal. And with the signals. But then that could be said with any bar actually. So you're going to find times where different bars are going to have phenomenal results. So because this price has come back and retested this 61.8, It actually broke through earlier, and now it's come very close without really coming down too far. So if we see a break up here, then we've got our next part here, which is a 76.4, which is only an hourly. It's only an hourly 76.4. So not, you know, it's a decent number, but it's not as strong as some of the other ones. So it's broken above the 61.8. So probably going to come and retest it. Good chance it's not going to break down again to the previous baseline. So it's just floating around that level. Came and retested it. So it came and retested that level. This could be one of those false breakout type of things, where it broke through a significant level and then came under. Anyway. So a lot of backwards and forwards with the price, you know, came up a little bit, down, dropped again, up, down, up, down. It's kind of just floating around in one area. So this bar size, it does like it when the price runs a bit, and it hasn't quite happened yet. Who knows, we might still have a bit of a run before the end of the session. So it's definitely struggling at this level, at this Fibonacci level, which is at 61.8. It initially actually came and went above it, but then has broken down below, and it looks like it's come to retest it. So it broke down below the price. I mean, below the level. If I can find my, where are we? Alt and E. So it basically broke down below. It actually dropped down nicely, and then it came back and then retested it. It touched that 61 level. And yeah, I would say from here, it's probably gonna have a nice run back down again. So that seems like what it's going to do, just because it failed to break above and stay above the 61.8. So it broke down below the 61.8. Then it came back to retest that 61.8, which you're seeing there. It's also called the zero line. And now there's nothing underneath the price to really offer resistance up until the 50%, which is the, you know, the 5-minute 50, but then also the one below that is the this huge cluster over here. So that's probably why we're seeing the price have a quick run down over here, because there's nothing really stopping it. The only thing that came in its way before was this 50%, where the price kind of struggled a little bit before, but probably this time it's going to go right through it. Because you can imagine how many people are going to have stops below this point over here where the price last struggled. So at this level over here, there'll be lots of stops at this level. Lots of stops at this level here. So the price is probably going to smash right to here. And that's, yeah, so that's at least what it's did. And this is the next Fibonacci level that it's got to deal with. So that's very close to it now. It's coming back up to retest the 50%, and it's probably going to come a bit further down. How far has it come from this cluster though? Let's have a look. Came within 39 ticks. So we're currently just hovering around the 50% on the 5 minute. Now, when the price broke through earlier, when it broke through this Fibonacci cluster earlier, it didn't come back and really retest that level at all. So now that it's coming back towards it, it's probably going to test it a bit more than what it did before. So, I mean, no absolute fireworks today. We haven't had the greatest session. I mean, we're not up $1,000 like we have been the rest of the other sessions. But it's kind of a held on to, it's kind of a still held on, you know, without breaking the bank. So I would definitely be inclined to pause over here. But who knows? Who knows? I did that before, and the price did smash through. Does seem like a bit of a point. So if this bar basically, if this bar breaks upwards, then I would pause it. How's that sound? It's better, right? So broken through, coming back to retest it. So similar thing to what happened earlier when it broke through that 61.8 to the downside, came back and retested it, which it did over there. It did very briefly come and retest the level over there on this bar over here. Please don't freeze me. Okay, good. It's not. And just see what the price does around here. So back to, we'll see if it comes back to the 61.8 underneath. This would be good. So yeah, that's a very nice run in price. So thank goodness we didn't pause it at that level. So yeah, I was wrong about that. I honestly thought that the price will struggle around this Fibonacci level, and it broke right through before, and it broke right through again. So that was interesting. Okay, so it's in a long position right now. We've only got about 5 minutes or so left of the session that it's going to automatically close itself up. Maybe this is the time where it's going to go up and retest it again. Let's see. So you can see the indicator has built a brick wall underneath the close of these bars over here. So that's just saying that there's a higher chance of the price going up than coming down, according to these optimized settings. But we have seen a few trades, consecutive losers earlier in the session. So, you know, it probably hasn't been 100% in sync with the markets today. But luckily, it did catch this nice long move coming down. It caught that one very, very nicely. So that's a good thing. I would like to see this price come back up again to retest that Fibonacci cluster and then close off right near the top of that. So it's 9:58 a.m. So this is going to close off within the next 2 minutes automatically. Coming up right up until 10 o'clock right now in the next few seconds. So it's going to automatically close off this position and not enter anymore. So let's hope we end in a green trade, hopefully. We had a switch over signal there too, to a sell. So the price really struggled to go up there. You can see it really struggled to go up. So it's just gone 10 o'clock now. As soon as this bar updates, it's going to close. Bam. Okay, outside trading hours. So there we go. We are done for the session. So what happens with this, okay, is it's going to update on bar close. Okay, the strategy updates on bar close. So if you are on a bar that the that the strategy is trading and there's an open position, only when that bar closes will it check what the time is, and then it will say, okay, now we're outside of trading hours, so we're closing immediately. So that's why when that bar closed, the trade immediately executed and it says outside of trading hours. Okay, so we had a interesting session. We started off with a few losing positions. We ended up on just under $900 of trades for that session. So that was good. If we look at the performance of the strategy itself, so I'll go to strategy performance and go real time. That is going to show you what the strategy it did today. Okay. So looking at the percentage, okay, so it's in line with more or less what the strategy does. So if you look at the overall strategy results, it's showing $11,000 profit with a 39% accuracy and a 2,900 drawdown. So the drawdown was pretty high to begin with. So today we had 1,000 drawdown, $900 profit with an accuracy rate of 35%. So if you're looking at the percentage rate, 35 to 39, it's pretty close. And we had those 4 consecutive losers during the session, which hit us a little bit, but it recovered nicely after that. So if we look at the trades that the strategy executed during the session, that is what this looks like. So we had, there's the entry times. So we started the strategy just before 9:30. The first trade entered at 9:28. And then this last one ended at 10:09. So those were the results. So at one stage, we were actually down $700, $750. And then we had that long running trade that made 1,500, which is that one over there. And then we had, 2 smaller trades after that. So just under 900 for the session. How did you guys go on your strategies?
Mine is going well. I am up, let's see, $400. So I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I'll keep it running throughout the day.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Jason, about $1,000 green.
Nice.
Nice.
And what bar size were you using?
I was using the 48. My figures were slightly lower. I was using a 419.
Okay, cool. Yep, that's fine.
Just a quick one. I had stuck in a trend in reverse. For some reason, I don't know how I saved the template like that. A lot of figures came up today as reverse. Is there any particular reason why we generally stick to trend, or?
You know what? There's no specific reason.
Okay.
It's just that I've realized that if you are doing optimizations over much longer periods of time, you're going to find that the trend ones are going to be successful.
Okay.
But even today, reverse would have absolutely killed it. If you look at some of these signals, some of these settings over here, some of these trades, especially around this section over here, these would all have been very high success trades and huge in the money trades.
Yeah. Sometimes reverse seems to come back a little a bit more than trend.
Yeah, and if you're optimizing the very latest data, you're going to find a lot of reverse settings in there when the price is bouncing around.
Okay.
Jason, for me, the 8 bars worked, $400, which was good, but the 2222 bar was, I think it closed out at 2,600 red.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. And how did before you activated your strategy, did you check your optimizations that everything was lined up properly as it should?
Yeah, it just got the wrong side of one of the trades when it really started climbing. And I thought, well, okay, I'll just play it out to see what it should do, but it just kept going and going.
Okay. Yeah. And sometimes it could just be a few ticks of missing out on that reverse signal, you know? So that can happen. That can happen too. Absolutely. And that's also why we see, I mean, even on this strategy on the screen now, it shows over here 2,900 drawdown. So at some stage, it actually had, you know, trades that actually ran deep into the red, but then recovered, you know, hence the percentage too. So you're definitely gonna have days where you could lose a lot more, but then other days overall you're gonna be way ahead, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you guys for being on the call. We're gonna run a live trading account from next week. So exactly what we're doing here, it's gonna be a live account. So I'm just deciding which account I'm going to be using going forward with this, because I have been speaking to the group. A lot of you guys are interested in funded accounts running from different providers. So I may even just do one of those to see how we perform on that. So we'll just try a few different things on that. Good. Okay. So my next live session will be on Monday. So you guys are welcome to continue what we're doing and do the same thing tomorrow on your own. I'm going to be recording a video on tomorrow, which is going to be for all new members. And that's going to include setting up the platform, actually even getting a data feed, setting up the platform, setting up the tools, and a session to trade. So look out for that one over the weekend. And that'll definitely help new guys get started, and even be a good refresher for some of you guys who just want to make sure you set up properly. Cool. Okay. Thank you guys, and have a good weekend. Have a good rest of the week, and I'll chat to you on Monday.
Thank you, Jason.
Cheers.
Okay. Cheers. Thank you guys.
Cheers.
And thanks for everybody watching on YouTube. I'll be back on Monday, and we'll chat then. Thank you. Okay. Oh, come on. Wrong button.